and welcome everyone to our How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind group. Hi, my name is Ann McNeill, and I am, yes, I am, because I said so. I am the master wealth builder, helping to build a stronger and a better life and business. And we are a part of the International Mastermind Association for Think and Grow Rich, the phenomenal book espoused by Napoleon Hill. In his book, he talks about the fact that you can have your dreams and your desires if you focus on starting and running a successful mastermind group with individuals who are like-minded and like-spirited. And like everything else that I do, I always like to start with a silent moment of prayer. Yes, I did say that. And this is what it looks like for me. It's just a simple bow, breathing in at the count of 8, exhaling at the count of 8, and that's it. So you can join me if you choose, but you don't have to. But let me bow. And then I thank God for the breath. Yes, thanking God for the streaming live on YouTube. And just want to thank all of you that are joining us as we share how to start and run a successful mastermind group. Again, my name's Ann McNeill. And when I come on and share, this is basically a Q&A. I've been masterminding since 1980. I picked up the book Think and Grow Rich in 1979, started my first mastermind group in 1980. And one of the groups that I'm in now, we have been together for over 20 years. And through that process, I ended up with the group writing this book entitled How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group. Now, over the years, our mastermind group, this is a free mastermind group. Let me just make sure that's clear. We mastermind in 10 different areas of our life: the spiritual, the family, the financial, the health, the recreational, the creativity, the civic, your personal development, your business, or your career. And it's basically 10 areas, but I'll repeat those again in case I missed one. But my point is this: we mastermind for 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And as a part of this process, we ask our members to bring your life in writing on an annual basis. And we'll put that information in the chat, where we host an annual meeting for your life. Can I say that again? We host an annual meeting as a group of masterminders, and we've had over 1,000 people over the years to come through this International Mastermind Association, utilizing the principles of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so we want to ask you to join us in January. We'll put that link in the chat. It is January 9th and 10th in Boca Raton. And this is where we come together, and all of our masterminders bringing our life in writing, where we're able to share with the world and with each other. This is what I committed to do in January. Now we're in January the next year, and this is my challenge to all of our members. Just imagine if you had to go before a tribunal at the beginning of every year. And in order for you to enter into that upcoming year, the tribunal would ask you to show in writing your commitment that you made in every area of your life. What did you commit to do in your spiritual area? How about your family area? How about your financial? How about your education? How about your health? How about your personal relationship and your personal development area? What about the business or professional career area of your life? What about your recreational, creativity, and civic? Where are your written goals and your accomplishments for at least one goal all year? And the tribunal would determine if you get an opportunity to come into the new year based upon what you did or did not do in the previous year. Because if you set goals and have no plans to achieve those goals, year after year after year after year, why should you have an opportunity to go into the next year? Now, that's rather graphic, but that's the concept. Because if we're not shocked, if you will, into the realization that we really should have written goals. Now, one of the ways to do that and have accountability on a weekly basis is to start and run a successful mastermind group. So with that thought in mind, I want to welcome all of our guests that are here. And this is simply a short opportunity for a Q&A. So I'm going to ask each of you who's here if you have any questions, but also want to have you introduce yourself. And some of you did not know we were going to do this, but yes, I'm going to call your names if you're here. And I'm going to start with Teresa Pringle, and then Latasha Bright, Keisha Gaines, Dr. Will Moreland, and Wing Ying W. So who'd like to go first? Welcome and good morning, no matter where you are in the world. And for some of you, I know it's very early. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Will Moreland. I am based in Phoenix, Arizona. So excited to be here and learn some insights on running and operating a masterful mastermind by the phenomenal Ann McNeill. Thank you for the invite.
Now, let me start, Dr. Will. What we usually do is we first ask you if you have any questions, because this is simply going to be a Q&A. And I like the fact that you use masterful, because it is masterful. After 45 years, we learn just a couple of things of what works and what does not work. And again, Dr. Will, this is, as you know, many of us are in lots of different masterminds that we pay for. And then we have people in our masterminds that they pay us. This is not that. This is a free mastermind for your family and or your friends. So I like to tell people that, because sometimes people want to know, well, how do I make a lot of money in mastermind? No, this is not that mastermind. That's a different mastermind. So yes, masterful it is. So you have any questions, Dr. Will?
I do. I'm really curious, how have you implemented the mastermind concept with your family, and what are some of the requirements that you ask them to do as they're a part of the mastermind?
Well, let me share with you that this is a journey, Dr. Will, and I tell everybody it is not perfect. My husband, my boyfriend of 50 years, told me years ago, I'm not interested. I don't have anything to do with that. But whenever you start a mastermind group on teaching people how to spoil their grandchildren, sign me up. Okay. He told me that years ago, and I love him and I respect him and I honor his wishes. So guess what? He's not interested. Now, I like to say that because I want to make sure people understand this is not perfect. But let me tell you what is working for us. Let me tell you what is working. I wish I were that smart in the beginning, Dr. Will, to know then what I know now, talking about the family. I did not know. So what I did, and I can only talk about what I did, I cannot talk about what other people did, which is why we do this. My youngest daughter, I tell people my oldest daughter represents me before enlightenment. She's in her 50s. My youngest daughter represents me after enlightenment. And some of you will get that on the way home. So my youngest daughter, when I read this book, she was, she wasn't here when I started reading the process, and it's 79. So she's 36 now. So by listening to Napoleon Hill and reading his book, I had her in the back seat of the car. And I would take the version of the book that I had at that time. This is 4, 5, 6 years old. And because I could not read and drive, I had her to read in the back seat. A paragraph, and we would discuss it, Dr. Will. So every Saturday, and this is the beginning of the family journey, every Saturday morning, my first mastermind group, which was 10 of us, we came together in the 80s. We would meet every Saturday morning, Dr. Will, at each other's homes. And all we knew was the one page that said, how much do and what by when, that page 28 and page 72, which you're familiar with. That's all we would do. And then we would read our affirmation to each other. This is the very beginning. This is a mastermind group of 10 women. And one day, at 6 years old, my daughter, the 6-year-old, we're getting ready to pray and wrap up. She's sitting on the sofa. I remember just like it was yesterday, 6 years old, Dr. Will. And this is the beginning of the family realization of the impact we make when we mastermind. 6 years old, she stands up, raised her hand. Nobody asked her because every single Saturday we did the same thing. So from an infant sitting in an infant chair to now 6 years old, I'm taking her everywhere, Dr. Will, and I mean everywhere. She raises her hand. She's got a little folded sheet of paper, and she says, I want to give my report. A lady by the name of Dr. Mia Merritt, she wasn't Dr. Mia Merritt at that time. She was graduate from Florida Memorial University, recent college grad. She looked and she said, oh my goodness, honey, go ahead and give your goals. This is how my family mastermind group started. She then says, my spiritual goal is I want to read the word of God. Then she says, my financial goal is I want to make a lot of money and help make it grow. Then she said, my education goal is I want to get straight A's. This is the first grader. Then she says, lastly, because at that time we only had 4 goals. The last goal for her was recreation. And we lived at that time on a golf course. And she would always stand in the window. She said, I want to learn how to play basketball. I want to learn how to play golf. Now, Dr. Will, let me fast forward 10 years, 16, well, 10 years in the future. From that day, the other women in the group started realizing, well, wait a minute, my child can read this book. My child can also learn to have an affirmation statement. So we started the children meeting every Saturday as we would meet. We would bring our children. And that was the beginning of the nucleus of the children meeting. She was 6. She's now 36. But now let me fast forward, Dr. Will, what happened in that period of time. By the time she was 11, because again, I'm taking her everywhere. When it comes to investing, I began to realize from all of the books that we were reading that we're taught how to make the money, but we're not taught how to make money. So our 10-person mastermind group ended up, well, I don't know how much time y'all got, but are you open? Can I tell the real story, Dr. Will? Okay. We began to realize that when we set goals in the financial area, we were setting a goal to save money. That's all we knew. That's all we knew. So after yours truly started realizing how to get out of debt just by paying down a small bill, just a small bill, a couple $100s, because at the time I had over $1 million in debt. I saved up a little money, knew absolutely nothing about saving or investing. I thought they were the same thing. They were not. And then I realized after giving my savings to someone that I never saw the money again, my life savings. And that person happened to have started, it was a male, he had started working with the children also in masterminding every month, but helping them learn how to invest. Now, why is that important? Because after he took that money, and I realized I was never going to see it again, we were already into our 2nd year with the children in their mastermind. I realized, even though I was upset with him, I was more upset with myself for not knowing how to invest and how to analyze stocks, but depending upon somebody else and giving them my money. So, of course, I'm upset, but I'm also a reader and a realist. And what do when you know you don't know? You pick up a book and you read and you learn. So one of the first books we read as a mastermind group was The Millionaire Next Door. In that book, we read the story about a group of women who beat the stock market. They were members of an organization called the National Association of Investment Clubs. So we contacted the organization to find out how could we start our own club. Now, this 6-year-old now is 7, 8 years old. So when we go to find out how we can start our own investment club, they send us the information. My daughter then goes to an investment club meeting for children, first day. On that first day, we are all having our own mastermind meeting, investment club, because I call it investment club a mastermind group also. She comes back and she says, first day. She comes back and she says, Mommy, can I get the newspaper? This is 8 years old. I said, sure. She picks up the newspaper, she opens it up, take her finger, she goes down and she finds the Nike stock. She goes over and she says, oh my gosh, the price went down. I'm standing in the kitchen. I don't know how to do that. I'm just as clueless, undergraduate degree in accounting. By that time, a master's in finance, and I own 2 businesses and I don't know how to do that. And then she looks up at me in the kitchen with the newspaper and she says, Mommy, don't look so sad. I'm going to be a long-term investor. So I'm not concerned about the price, but I want to know the earnings. This is at 8 years old. Fast forward 16, she ranked #1 in the United States out of 5,000 girls, invited to be the keynote speaker for the National Financial Planners Association, keynote speaker on investing and how to analyze stocks. PBS did a special on her, which anybody can Google, freshman year at Howard. Now, I said all of that to say now retired at 30-31. This was a part of our family investment. Then I can go to my grandson, which some of you on here know. Same thing, reading, Think and Grow Rich from 2nd grade, but attending the youth mastermind meetings every single Sunday, because then there were no platforms that we had. So we had to either have the meeting in person or it was on a conference call. There was no Zoom. So now, person by person in my family, which I'll speak of my family, we started meeting as a family, with the exception of my husband. Let's be very clear for those of you that are wondering. My boyfriend, no. Grandchildren are his thing, sporting them all. But masterminding is not. But he sees the impact, the positive impact it's having on our family. Now, come back to your question, Dr. Will. It's not going to be perfect. What we did is, and for what I did, I started with the reading, 1 page, 1 paragraph on the weekend as a family. But the children meeting with children, not grown-ups, and the grown-ups meeting with grown-ups. And over time, the children in the family, now we can have a communication and now we can create our own mastermind group within that family. So I know that's a little lengthy, but this is what this meeting is about. It's about the Q&A of how you start and run your own family and friends mastermind group. Everybody in the family is not going to want to do it. I would again encourage all of us start with 1 person in. Please don't try to have a big family meeting. It doesn't always work like that. But if you start with 1 person in your family, whether it's a spouse or a sibling or even a child, and say, look, how about we sit down, not necessarily together, but how about we take a page or a paragraph? Same thing we do, Doctor, when we meet with Black NSA $1 Million Mastermind. It is no different. So that's my family mastermind story. Now I'm not, she's here, but she's not, she's in a breakout. But I also have had Miss Kendi Ward has shared her mastermind family. They have a family mastermind called Wafemi, and she's normally here, but they're in a breakout now. planning our annual meeting. But
I'm here.
again, oh, she says she's here. I
Good
can't see
morning.
her.
Good morning.
Oh, you are here. I don't see you, but anyway, you want to add any comments? Dr. Wheeler asked a question about how do you start a family mastermind, and I think yours is an ideal family because hers is everybody, husband included, husband, wife, mom. So you want to share, Kendi? Because again, I think it's critically important. Everybody on here that has a family may also have the same question he had.
Okay, good morning. Our family started masterminding together in 2010. I was introduced to the concept of masterminding the Anne McNeill way in 2005. By Miss Ann, and had been asking my family to join me in masterminding. We were familiar with Think and Grow Rich. We'd all read the book, but they were resistant to starting a mastermind group. And then in 2010, I asked them persistence. I believe Ann has a McNeilism about being persistent. So I would ask every year. And in 2010, they were like, yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know why it wasn't a good idea in 2005, 6, 7, 8, or 9. But in 2010, it was a good idea. And so we started masterminding as a family, working on our individual goals in the 10 areas. And then as a family, we mastermind collectively in 5 areas where we have family goals, spiritual goals, business goals, financial goals, recreational goals, and civic goals that we mastermind as well. We meet virtually. We've always met virtually because we've always been in different places. My sister lived in Arkansas. I mean, my sister lived in Africa. My brother lived in Arkansas. I live here in South Florida. My parents were in the Bahamas. So we've always met virtually. And we've been consistent in meeting weekly. We meet weekly on Sundays. Um, to go over our goals, to review them, to hold each other accountable for our individual goals and then also for our family goals. And we have accountability partners within the group, within the family, who hold us even more accountable to those goals. So that's how it works for our group and our family.
Now, I just want to ask her also to share when they first started. I think that your you have a sister and a brother, and I think each had
Yes.
maybe one child, something like that.
No, they had no children and no
Oh.
spouses. It was just my brother, my sister, my mom, and my dad. And now it is my brother and my sister are married. They each have 4 kids. And so the kids mastermind as well. And we're getting a little bit more. My sister just introduced all 10 areas to her girls this week, actually, to have them make goals in all 10 areas. They are 10 and 9, and my nephews are how old are they? 11, sorry, 11 and 5, and then the others are babies. They don't mastermind yet. So,
But the reason I wanted to mention that, Dr. Will, is because as a family, they have annual goals, but one of them, the goal is now the three youngest, the 3 daughters from her sister are now aspiring professional golfers.
yes.
And the reason I'm sharing that is because I think that it's critically important that we understand that when the children set goals, and they learn how to set goals in any area, whether it is in sports, whether it's educational, whether it's financial, whether it's health, whatever it is. It's a matter of transferring or transmuting those skills into other areas of their lives. And they have been golfing now, how many years, Kendi?
They've been golfing for 4 years. They are ranked number one in the Bahamas. They live in the Bahamas. They're number one in their division. They also golf internationally where they've won tournaments as well.
So thank you, Kendi. Just wanted to share that, but great question, Dr. Will. And again, it's whatever you want to make it to be. One of the books that I enjoy reading that helped our family early on with this process was Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. And the reason why that book was so critically important for me is because it was the first time, I think my youngest daughter was 8 at the time when I read it, but it was the first time I was introduced to creating a family mission statement. And you talk about empowering. Start a family mission statement where everybody, even the children, must add and agree. And sometimes it takes months, not days or weeks, but everybody must participate in the writing and the agreement of it. And before you start your family meeting, you affirm and recite the family mission statement. Now, that's another podcast for
I
another
have
day.
my hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So so yes, we read that book as well. And it has a you can go to their website and it'll help you put in all the input, like Ann said, from everybody in the family, and it'll help you write the mission statement. So it helped us write the mission statement. And so we've had it, and now the kids are memorizing it. So we test them to see if they can remember the mission statement from memory.
Now, Dr. Will, I know I know that was a tidbit of what we do, but hopefully that answered your question. All right, thank you. All right, so anybody else before we plan to wrap up, because we do want to be respectful of the time. And I did mention those of you that are here. If you have any questions, we do want to thank you. We're going to put the details for our International Mastermind Association link in the chat. We do want to encourage each of you to sign up with us. It's free. This process is free. We're all volunteers with the Think and Grow Rich International Mastermind Association. It is a not-for-profit. And so we have a process. We'll put the link in the chat here for the membership application. And we'll also put the link in the chat on YouTube for the link for the membership application to this organization. And it's simply your name, your contact information. And what we look to do is to help you go back to Dr. Will's question, or you may say, I just want to have some friends. But my desire is to show up here and serve every Tuesday for 30 minutes and answer any questions you may have about starting your own family and friends mastermind group. And we have individuals that have been masterminding with us 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I was sharing last night in one of the breakout groups that Rufus Curry, who's a part of our Black NSA Mastermind, he has been masterminding with his group, which is Beatrice Lewis St., Rufus Curry, and Angela M. Williams. They've been together now for almost 20 years, if not 21 years, masterminding every single week for 20, 21 years. And so again, that's what we create. And we have lots of people who use our process to start and run their own free family and friends mastermind group. So if any of you have any questions, Ying, W, Teresa, Keisha, Count, Alonzo, Teresa, any of you that's here that have any questions, we're open for the questions. And just want to mention again, internationalmasterminders.com. You can go to the website there. You can also get the link to register for the membership there. So Joy, we want to confirm that link is there to register for the membership. And then also the International Masterminders Association annual meeting. Michelle, if we have that, we can pull that up. It is going to be held the 9th and 10th in January 2026 at the Embassy Suites. The registration, you can go here if you're listening on podcast or YouTube, just go to internationalmasterminders.com and you can register. I'm going to also put my LinkTree in the chat. So all of these links, if you hear this in the future and you're like, okay, but what does she say about, how to connect or whatever, we'll put that in the chat and you can get that. And that's Ann McNeill on LinkTree. But any other questions before we wrap up? I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, you can go to internationalmasterminders.com. Teresa, you just came off mute. You had a question, please?
No, I don't have any questions. Unless you're talking about Teresa Pringle. I see her hand is raised.
Oh,
Yes.
Teresa, go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you so much for having me. This is very interesting because I do some masterminding, not with family yet. We're not all there on the same page, but I work with my young adult children to get them in the circle. And we have to start there foundationally and do. But we have been using some of these skills prior to. in our daily lives. So this has been very helpful to know that I've kind of been traveling in the right direction. Looking forward to continued listening and learning and growing. Thank you.
No, thank you for joining. I just want to remind everybody, I would also encourage you to look at getting a copy of this book entitled How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group. It's a workbook, but when I tell you it is a labor of love, it gives you an agenda, a sample agenda for your first meeting, your second meeting, your third meeting, and so on. It gives you member policies and accountabilities. It gives you a code of ethics. We give you a lot of information that you can use in the starting and running of your own successful mastermind group. And that is, you can find that book also at the International Masterminders, or you can go to my website at annmcneill.com. But want to thank all of you for joining us. Please want to encourage everybody, please put your contact information in the chat so that we can follow up with you. We do also have a Facebook group. You can join the Facebook group, and we are looking to participate in the Facebook group during the week so you don't have to wait for Tuesday in order to ask your questions. And of course, again, thank you for joining. And with that, we're going to say, have a blessed day. And for those who are veterans, thank you so very much for your service. Everybody have a great